Developing tonight, the bomb cyclone lived up to its name, cutting a damaging and deadly path across western Washington. 2 people were killed by falling trees, and hundreds of thousands of people are still in the dark as the cleanup begins.
KOMO has a team of reporters spread out across the region covering the aftermath of the storm, including the cleanup and the efforts to get power restored. But we start with Michelle Esteban live in Bellevue at the scene of one of those deadly tree falls. Michelle?
Hi there, Mary. I can tell you the entire neighborhood here absolutely walloped by the storm. You can even see some of the debris here still strewn about. Folks here so saddened over their neighbor's death. Tonight, police securing the home because the tree is still where it fell last night. The house still not yet structurally secure for crews to remove the victim's body. What's left is haunting: an enormous root ball, a house sliced open by a massive tree on its own property. All 3 stories structurally compromised and a family left devastated.
I mean, it was terrifying. Like, we're all pretty devastated from his loss, but yeah, it was just kind of terrifying that something like that could happen.
She's talking about her neighbor. He lost his wife in a bomb cyclone's damaging and now deadly winds. The 65-year-old woman was in the shower, her husband also in the house, when the 80-plus-foot conifer collapsed. He wasn't injured, but there was no way to get to his wife. He called 911. Crews rushed him out of the house the moment they arrived. The winds were just too explosive.
So we've been meeting with him, talking to him. It's obviously a very, very tough situation for him. He is fortunate to have family in the neighborhood.
We asked to know more about the family, but it became clear now is not the time. And despite the wind warnings, no one expected this in the Bridle Trail neighborhood, nestled among hundreds of trees.
We're used to being around the trees, and so, yeah, it's just so unexpected and, yeah, I think devastating.
I don't recall one quite this catastrophic, tragic.
2 other homes in the same neighborhood hit by falling trees, including Cindy's house.
I looked around, and through our skylight we could see the tree.
She and her family, including her son, unhurt. But farther north in Lynnwood, another life lost. A woman living in an encampment here was killed when a tree landed on her. Tragedy from Lynnwood to Bellevue and in between. Now, we are hoping to learn more about that woman from Lynnwood. We're continuing to make that effort, but we were not able to find anybody today to speak on her behalf. I can also tell you that folks here are hoping that tomorrow that tree may be removed from the house. We'll have to wait and see. Reporting live in Bellevue, I'm Michelle Esteban, KOMO News.
Michelle, thank you. Mercer Island has issued a shelter-in-place alert for residents. City officials say fallen trees, downed power lines, and debris made it unsafe to travel or walk in many places. Specifically, those on East Mercer Way between the 42 and 4600 blocks should stay inside. They advise the same for those living along Island Crest Way between the 7400 and 7800 blocks.
I'm tracking the latest numbers on power outages throughout western Washington. Puget Sound Energy is now reporting more than 340,000 customers are still in the dark as we head into night 2 of no power. And in Snohomish County PUD, they are reporting now about 39,940 customers still impacted by this power outage. And for the city of Seattle City Light, they're reporting about 21,000 customers still impacted from the storm. You can see here on this map, the biggest outage right now is happening in North Seattle with just over 5,000 customers impacted there.
So getting the lights back on for thousands of homes and businesses will be no easy task. Some power companies say it could be a matter of days, not hours, for service to be fully restored. KOMO's Joel Marino live tonight in Seattle. And Joel, you looked into why the repair work will take so long.
Yeah, it's a question a lot of people want answered because they're sitting there in the dark. Right now, we're outside a utility yard for Seattle City Light, and as you just heard from Hannah Knowles, this company is in a little bit better shape than others when it comes to getting the lights back on. All the companies are working hard to restore service, but for people who are PSE or Snohomish PUD customers, well, the sheer extent of the damage means that some neighborhoods could be in the dark for days.
Oh my gosh. All Lenore Abbott can do is spot clean until the power gets restored to the restaurant she manages on Mercer Island.
So we just had to hurry up and close down, keep the fridges closed, put some ice on our meats, and then waiting to move our stuff to another location so everything stays fresh.
Next door, power is cut to the physical therapy clinic as well, though they are trying to accommodate any patients who come in.
We're treating in the dark the best we can do with the natural light we have. We'll have to close early as soon as the sun goes down because then it becomes safety concerns.
For those still waiting to have their power restored, service providers say the storm damage is so extensive, they're still figuring out where to make repairs, and getting everything up and running could take days.
We're working hard up there. There's a lot of large trees that came down in several neighborhoods, and those involved a little bit more complex repairs.
But I would think, like, where are other backup power sources? Where's support for people that do legitimately need some kind of power? If it's multiple days, I mean, that seems kind of ridiculous.
While line crews are repairing what they can, helicopters and ground crews are running spot checks across the length of the transmission systems.
We're actually going through the entire electrical system and making sure that we catch as much as possible.
Until that happens, people will have to find out ways to ride it out.
I immediately think of plenty of people around here who maybe they have sleeping devices, they have medical devices at home, any kind of stuff like that. There's no power, no way to charge anything.
Yeah, power companies have a ranking order in how they approach this repair work. Any outage that would create a public safety hazard, well, that gets worked on first. After that, it's the critical infrastructure, think hospitals. From there, they work on outages that would restore service to the most customers, and then it goes on from there. Reporting live, Joel Marino, KOMO News.
All right, thanks, Joel. In terms of power outages, the bomb cyclone will likely be remembered on par with some of the biggest storms to hit the Puget Sound region. The Hanukkah Eve storm in December of 2006 knocked out power to roughly 920,000 combined customers of Puget Sound Energy, Seattle City Light, and Snohomish PUD. In January of 1993, the Inauguration Day storm caused outages to about 750,000 customers across western Washington. For Snohomish PUD alone, the 175,000 outages represented about 80% of its customers at the time.
People in Matthews Beach in Seattle describe trees falling like dominoes during the worst of the storm. KOMO's Denise Whitaker is live tonight with the damage, but also the neighborly love going around. Denise?
Right. Thankfully, there is plenty of that going around. You know, the homeowners here where I am at this damaged house tell me that part of the reason they bought the property was because of the trees. But now take a look. A very large, long Douglas fir is now suspended horizontally, leaning up into the second story of that house. Seattle Tree working late into the night here with lights set up, trying to get this tree out so they can get a tarp company in here to protect what's left of the house.
So, yeah, there's a tree in the house, but we're here, and we're able to have this conversation.
Nancy Deannis tells me she and her wife, Tracy Matthews, bought this fixer-upper right at the start of COVID.
And it kind of feels like a fixer-upper again.
The tree crashed right into their bedroom, thankfully, before either one of them got home from work. She joked that they now have a pink bedroom filled with fiberglass insulation.
And it really does look like a bomb fell down here.
The neighbors they met during COVID happy hours on the street rushed in to help, one even offering them a place to sleep. Others arrived at daylight with chainsaws.
We cleared this neighbor's yard. Uncle Kevin and I are up on the neighbor's roof, getting the tree off there. There's holes in the roof, so we're caulking it to fill it, so.
And putting shingles that got ripped off.
Selena Piker-Cheerer lives across the street. Her family also did not escape damage from this storm.
We had one through our yard, one through the side yard, and so Wenzel and my daughters actually slept in the middle of the house underneath the chimney.
From tears to adrenaline and now the reality of rebuilding, this neighborhood is sticking together.
I feel like the luckiest person in the world. Yep, Tracy's alive and fine. I made it home, and here we are.
And they tell me that they absolutely are going to rebuild. They've got another fixer-upper to get done. Now, Russell with Seattle Tree is up there. They're having to cut pieces of this tree apart bit by bit. And each part that comes down, I'm told, weighs about 2,000 pounds, which is why they have to take it down bit by bit. The crane cannot lift it all off the house all at once. Plenty of work for days to come for all of the storm damage in the area. Live in Seattle, Denise Whitaker, KOMO News.
You're an amazing group, Denise. Thank you. Today, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell addressed the windstorm and the efforts to restore power.
Some repairs are going to take longer, depending on whether we can easily access the damage and get to the areas and remove the debris and do what we're doing. We have additional crews working on this, and again, our staff and crews are working around the clock to ensure all customers have power restored.
As of this morning, the mayor's office said the Seattle Transportation Department reported between 20 to 30 trees down citywide, impacting roadways.
People who live in Issaquah are assessing the damage after many large trees came toppling down onto businesses, homes, and vehicles in the area. KOMO's Lynn Wynn live tonight in Issaquah. And Lynn, you've been speaking with residents there. I can only imagine the stories they have to tell tonight.
Yeah, Preston, this neighborhood off Front Street and Dogwood seems to be one of the hardest hit in Issaquah that we saw today. Over here, you can see just how these trees crushed this carport and also this vehicle behind me. We're seeing a lot of this around Issaquah today. We spoke with a lot of residents who described how loud it was hearing all of this come down around them last night. And many homes and businesses here have been without power for almost 24 hours at this point. While there is a lot of damage to homes, businesses, and vehicles in this area, everyone here I spoke with was not hurt, and they say they're just thankful their neighbors here are okay. It's unclear at this point how long it will take for crews to restore power and remove trees blocking the roads and resting on power lines here. So neighbors have been helping out each other, doing what they can to remove tree limbs and other unstable debris if it gets windy again. We spoke with several residents who were hunkered down in their homes last night, saying it sounded almost like an explosion as these trees came crashing down.
Just watching the trees kind of going back and forth, and sat down, and then all of a sudden crunch, and I look out and there's a branch. It's like a branch thing that did, and okay, and you just hear everything. It's like even though you tie everything down, it's like, I think that just snapped.
Because of the widespread power outages, many businesses in this area remain closed, and Issaquah schools will also be closed tomorrow. And as we've reported, it's unclear at this point when that power will be restored. Reporting live in Issaquah, Lynn Wynn, KOMO News.
All right, thanks, Lynn. Crews are still working to clear debris in other parts of Issaquah. We know 2 trees fell on a home on southeast Miramont Way overnight. Several tree limbs also fell into the road and are tangled up in the power lines. Crews have created a path for residents, but there is still so much work yet to be done.
Many of you helped us tell the story of the bomb cyclone. Jackie McCoy sent us these pictures of trees down at her home in Lake Stevens. You can see branches appear to hit the home, but there does not appear to be a lot of damage. That's not the case in Duval. Check this out. Allison Oneski sent us this picture of a tree that came down on a pickup truck, crushing part of the cab. Remember, we want to see your pictures and video of the storm. Just scan the QR code on your screen or log on to KOMOnews.com/chime in.
And stick with KOMO for continuing coverage of the widespread damage from our bomb cyclone, from downed trees to power outages and much more. Coming up at 6:30, we'll have reports from Southeast King County and Snohomish County. You can also watch for live updates tonight on KOMO News at 11. And when we are not on the air, you can get new information online at our website, KOMOnews.com.
Plans to close and consolidate some Seattle schools are now on pause. We'll tell you what led the superintendent to reconsider his initial proposal and what's next.
And hi there, everybody. With the bomb cyclone moving out, another windstorm is approaching. I'll let you know who could see 50-mile-per-hour winds again later this week, ahead in my forecast.
Heads up, parents and students, I'm tracking some school closures throughout our region. All schools in the Issaquah School District will be closed tomorrow. This also includes the Holly Street Early Learning Center, which will be closed tomorrow and Friday. And for Bellevue School District students and parents, they have also canceled all schools for tomorrow for the entire district of Bellevue. This includes after-school activities, athletics, and preschool. And in Renton, the school district there is also saying that all of the schools in Renton School District will be closed tomorrow, and that majority of their schools remain without power. They are warning for parents if it does reopen on Friday for Renton School District. This is not going to be a late start. All schools will start on the same schedule.